The trivia night he uses the other one, Water Out Loud. It's a weird song. It's really funny though. 'Cause he doesn't like the Jeopardy theme.
All right, we're going to start. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Village of Holly's Planning Commission meeting for May 25th, 2022. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, could we have roll call, please?
Ted Clark,
Here?
Christian, Lacey, Steele, Jim Clark,
Here.
Campbell,
Here.
DeSessa,
Here.
Kinnaman, Okonski.
Here. I have a note and request to excuse Richard Kinnaman, Lori Lacey, Cal Steele, and Galen Christian. Can we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Support. Motion support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, so excused. All right, approval of the agenda. Is there anything on the agenda that looked out of order or misstated? Everything looked fine to me. Did we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll motion to approve the agenda.
Support. Motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So approved. All right, approval of minutes from February 23rd, 2022. There was a letter that was in the packet addressing the concerns of why we moved that to this meeting from last meeting that Richard Kinnaman investigated, and he found that our concerns were not on the recording. So those were the concerns about the ZBA. If there's any other concerns, could we have a motion to approve the minutes as written?
So moved.
I'll support.
All right, movement and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So approved for the minutes for February 23rd, 2022. Going on to the minutes from last month, April 27th, 2022. Looking for any comments regarding those minutes.
Other than my name missing and the commissioners present, none.
You're still not officially on there, huh?
Apparently, I didn't get I got my name in the minutes all over the place, but not in that little spot. But hey,
All right.
you do that stuff by memory.
Cut and paste. I'm sure that will be taken care of. Anything else that anybody see? If anybody has no objections, I move to approve the minutes for our April 27, 2022.
I'll second.
That's with the one amendment.
Oh, I don't care. Yes, with the
Well,
change.
If you were here, you should be listening.
Sure. Like I said, I'm all the way through.
All right, with amending, do you have Ms. Campbell on there? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing that, so approved with amended. All right, can I have a volunteer to read the statement of purpose?
I'll do it again. Excuse me. The mission of Holly Village government is to enhance our community's quality of life. Our organization strives for quality services, responsive action to citizen requests, and a cost-effective government. We promote citizen participation, proactive decision-making, and environmental quality. Most importantly, we shall always serve the citizens of Holly. The Village of Holly will be a prestigious historical village that is a green residential oasis from the city and the center of commerce and activity for the region.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Moving on to public comments. Any public comments that would like to get up and speak before us about any concerns or recommendations or ideas, please step forward. And this is for anything that is not on the agenda. Seeing no one rushing to the microphone, we'll move on to public hearing. Could I have a motion to open public hearing, please?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, public hearing is now officially open. First item on public hearing, item A, is item 2022-005, consideration for rezoning from commercial district to R1A, single-family residential, at 15105 North Holly Road, Holly, Michigan, parcel ID IH 0127101007. Is anybody from the public have anything to say regarding this consideration for rezoning? The gentleman just walking in, just so you know, we are in the process of a public hearing, and we're now open for any discussion for item A on the agenda of rezoning from commercial to residential for 15105 North Holly Road. All right. Moving on from that, we'll move on to the second item on the public hearing, which is B, 2022-006, consideration for special use permit at 115 Battle Alley, Holly, Michigan, parcel ID IH 0134303020.
301, sir.
301. Okay, let's do that again. IH 01343001-020. Again, if there's anyone in the public that would come have a concern or anything regarding this consideration for special land use, please step forward. Again, seeing no one move forward, we will now request to close public hearing. Anybody like to make a motion to close the public hearing, please?
I'll move to close public hearing. Try
Second.
that again. I'll move to close the public hearing.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, public hearing is now closed. Going on to item 8, which is old business. Nothing listed on the agenda for old business. Item number 9 on the agenda, new business. And that is item A, 2022-005, consideration for rezoning from commercial district to R1A, that's single-family residential, at 15105 North Holly Road, Holly, Michigan, parcel ID IH 0127101007. Okay, and included in our packet was the application from the applicant and notes regarding that from Row Engineering, and items in the rezoning application checklist that were submitted along there with different areas that need to be met in order to consider rezoning from commercial to residential R1A. Any commissioners have any questions, ideas, or
You want me to do a presentation?
you can get up there and do that? That'd be great.
So hello again, me Corey Christensen from Row. So for this case, this is a rezoning case. The most primary concern you need to keep in mind when making a decision on rezonings is compliance with your master plan, your future land use plan. So if the rezoning request comes into compliance with what you had classified that property in your future land use plan as, you should grant the rezoning. If it is not in compliance with what you had in the future land use plan, you should not grant the rezoning unless you can identify an error that was made while crafting the master plan or a change in conditions that would justify a different rezoning. So having said that, this case is a property that's currently zoned C commercial, and they are requesting a rezoning to R1A single family. In the future land use plan, it remains zoned commercial. So there are 7 standards outlined in your ordinance. All 7 standards have to be met in order to grant the rezoning, as was stated. And all 7 standards really are just 7 different ways of kind of getting at that same point of whether or not it complies with the master plan. So for standard 1, is the request consistent with the goals, policies, and future land use map with the master plan? The parcel is classified commercial. In the future land use plan, the commercial district is intended to provide areas for commercial businesses that require greater land areas, increased vehicular accessibility and visibility than the neighborhood commercial or CBD district. The applicant is proposing to rezone the property from commercial to R1A, single-family residential. Standard 2, we found that it does not appear there are any physical or environmental features associated with the site to limit the proposed rezoning. Standard 3, under the current zoning, the property can be put to use for a broad range of commercial uses, such as restaurants, personal service establishments, general retail establishments, medical, dental, and veterinary clinics, and more. It would appear any number of permitted uses under the current zoning would allow the applicant to receive a reasonable return on profit. Standard 4, the neighboring parcels include commercial to the north, south, and west, and manufactured housing to the east. And if the rezoning were granted, the uses that will be permitted on this property will be limited to single-family dwellings and a few other very low-intensity uses such as cemeteries, libraries, and parks. It would not appear to be consistent with the high-intensity commercial intention of the district as outlined in the master plan. Standard 5, we found it would appear there is sufficient infrastructure and services to the site to accommodate those low-intensity uses if the rezoning is granted. And standard 6, the proposed rezoning district is R1A. Single-family residentially zoned parcels comprise the majority of land in the village of Holly. It does not appear there is a shortage of parcels in the village for the type of use proposed on this parcel. And then standard 7, the answer is no. Are there any questions for me?
No, thank you. Or wait a minute.
I'd just like clarification on 2 issues. One, our master plan shows this going into the future as commercial, correct?
Correct.
And the adjoining parcels on north and south side are both zoned commercial?
Yes.
So the request is effectively for spot zoning one parcel, which is something that I don't believe a planning commission should ever do.
It would be my opinion as a planning consultant that this would be spot zoning.
Okay, that's it for me.
I guess my question is, if it did get rezoned to residential,
Sure.
and it's just hypothetically, a developer came in and he wanted to buy all that property to establish any kind of business, what then, when you've got a residential right in the middle of all the commercial?
Are you talking about on the particular property we're talking about that was rezoned, if someone came in? If you granted the rezoning, they would not be permitted to open any kind of retail or commercial establishment. The only use for that property could be single-family dwellings or cemeteries, libraries, that kind of thing. Neighboring properties can continue to have commercial uses and wouldn't change them. Does that answer your question?
Not really. What I'm saying is, if that property is right in the middle, you've got the car wash,
Sure.
then I think there's a vacant lot between the house and the car wash, and then there's vacant lots to the north.
Mm-hmm.
With this residential would be sitting right in the middle of all that.
Yep.
Its potential impact on commercial development in the area.
Yeah, it would be a break in the corridor. It could make,
It would require someone else to come in and request a rezoning of that parcel.
if that property
In
were
ans-
to
in
need
answer
to be
to your
business. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else have any questions or concerns that they wish to vocalize? Does anyone have a motion that they would like to present?
would move that the request for rezoning be denied because it's not consistent with our master plan, and it in fact would be spot zoning one parcel.
In your motion, could you include the parcel ID?
Sure. 0127-101-007.
So we have a motion before us to turn down this request for rezoning of this parcel. Does anyone have a motion of support?
I'll support that.
I support that.
All right, could we have roll call, please?
Jim Clark,
Yes.
Campbell,
No.
Ted Clark,
Yes.
DeSessa,
Yes.
Okonski.
Yes. Okey dokey. If any of the applicants are here, I'm sorry for the ruling, but that's what our bylaws and things require. Moving on to item B, on consideration of special land use at 151 Battle Alley, Michigan, Holly, Michigan, parcel ID IH 01-34301-020.
Hello again. So this is a very similar case to what we heard last month, so I won't go too deep into it. So I'm just going to go over kind of the deficiencies I found when reviewing the application. So first, for the informational requirements, there appeared to be some missing information on the plans, including a north arrow, legal description, the location and type of vegetation, parking, location, size, and screening of trash, compliance with state and local and federal laws, just a statement to that effect, and then information specific to short-term rentals, such as maximum guests in rental, guest register process, screening of outdoor eating areas, etc. Those are the items I found that I feel should be provided. So even if you make a motion to approve, you can make it on condition that that information is provided. There were some other information that I went on to list, some informational items that were missing that I feel are not necessary. And so it's up to the commission, but I believe that those requirements can be waived. Those were the professional seal, the topography, and the setbacks. Since this is all internal and there's no new building being constructed, I don't see any reason for that information. And then in terms of zoning compliance, the schedule of regulations, there's missing information regarding the lot size and building location, which is necessary to determine if there's anything not conforming about the existing building. Lot area information, and then items E, F, J, K, L, M, and N in the short-term rental requirements. There was missing information in there. Information on how waste will be handled and parking. It's unclear how much parking will be provided for guests. Having said that, it's our view that this can be approved on condition that this information is provided.
Really? I mean, Corey, it seems like a lot of missing information. Is it, Jeremy, someone tell me, is it on its way? Are we expecting that soon, or?
I don't know that.
We have not discussed those with the applicant yet, but I would assume that those corrections would be made. Those are pretty standard corrections.
They're mostly informational items. So any approval made on condition that that's provided would not be effective until that information is provided.
Is it true that parcel also includes a portion of what's commonly known as the public parking behind it?
I'm not certain. That was part of my issue. I wasn't sure.
I believe it was, Mr. Redmond.
What?
Do you own part of that parking lot?
I do, I own those 4 spaces with the separate.
Excuse me, Mr. Redmond, can I have you come to the microphone, state your name and your address for the record, please?
Randy Redmond, owner of the building at 115 Battle Alley. So yeah, those 4 parking spaces in the back are separate deeded, separate tax ID number. So the only space that I need for the Airbnb would be one of the 4 spaces, which has already got a sign up and it's properly marked.
All right, you mentioned that they were separate parcel ID numbers.
One parcel ID for all 4 parking spaces. So when I
And
bought the
then, and
building,
then one for the property that you're wanting special use of,
correct, yeah.
but they are not joined.
Well, I guess it's all one tax ID number, yeah. so
Well,
there's
if they're
4.
two separate, I would think they would have 2 different tax ID numbers.
I believe it's one tax ID number with
4
deeded,
spots.
deeded restrictions for those spots.
Yeah.
It's
So the
listed in the
building
deed.
is one tax ID and then the parking is a separate tax ID. Yeah,
Okay.
and I don't know what you're referencing the application or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, if I didn't fill it out correctly.
Okay.
So whatever you guys.
Any other questions for the applicant? I guess, in what Jeremy was saying, and with compliances, we need documentation stating all the information that's required in these zoning requirements, in order to basically approve anything, because anybody can say anything, but if it's in writing, we have what the documentation would be submitted as. So, all that stuff would need to be provided before anything could be approved, unless we want to do stipulations. And I guess in that vein, then I believe Rowe Engineering provided the aerial view that they provided here, all right?
This is the first time I've heard that, and I need to do more stuff, so whatever I
Okay.
need to do, I'm fine with
Okay.
that.
And where I was going with this aerial view is we would also then desire you to mark which parking spaces are deeded to the, to the property that you're
How
talking
do
about.
I get a copy of the aerial view?
There's existing signs there.
Yeah, there's existing.
Yeah, there.
signs.
Are
They're
there?
all,
Yeah.
yeah, they're all
It
marked.
should be documented on
Yes,
our
sir.
paperwork.
Yeah. So how do I get a copy of that? I don't have a copy of
I
that.
can get that to you, Mr. Redmond.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I believe there's a business downstairs,
Correct.
okay?
That's my business, yep.
So then, how would the parking spaces be counted? Because I'm sure you're counting the same parking spaces for the business.
So I'm designating one parking space for the Airbnb,
Okay.
one only.
All right, so then, from that standpoint, then we need to know the employee head count of the business down below,
That's in the application.
is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's right, there was 3, if I remember
Yeah.
right.
yeah.
It's page 3 of the application, he lists that.
Okay, 3, 1 there. Okay. Then other things that I don't know if Jeremy talked to you about or not would be the compliance regarding smoke detection,
My
alarms.
ADT and alarms have already been put in on all 3 floors. They're all connected together.
Okay, and then you need to have a placard in the building, evacuations and things of that nature. And Jeremy would be able to follow up on all that for Procter. And then you also realize there needs to be a person that's within a given distance, that would be the contact person in case there are any issues arising from the property.
Yep. I live in Holly, so I would be that person.
Okay.
It's easy.
Any other concerns from anyone?
I don't have any.
Does anybody have a motion?
Yep, I will move consideration approval of the special use permit at 115 Battle Alley, Holly, personal ID number IH 0134301020. with contingent upon timely submittal of all the required information that's now missing.
From the roll letter.
If you refer to the row letter.
From the roll letter, yes, thank
You know,
you.
the items, the item numbers there, that way that would be not confusing.
I'll second.
All right, can we have roll call, please?
DeSessa,
Yes.
Ted Clark,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Jim Clark,
Yes.
Okonski.
Yes. All right, your special use has been approved pending documentation, and Jeremy's, the staff basically signing off that everything was received.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Moving on to item 10, training, nothing listed there. I guess going on to then reports, ZBA.
I think our meeting was canceled, wasn't it? Yeah, our last meeting was canceled. No activity.
And anything with DDA? And Mr. Kinman's not here with council. And I don't think we had anything on Parks Commissions.
I would
Okay.
like to report, we mentioned this at the last meeting on the Historic District Commission, only because we had this lovely convention in town, that I attended, not all of it, but as much as I could, and I just thought it was wonderful. I thought Holly, what a gem that Holly was able to put on for the state. As I understand it, this historic commission convention they have every year has never been in a town this small. Next year, for instance, is going to be on Mackinac Island. But the events I attended were great. They had these wonderful workshops over on College there at the facility, and everything was just township offices. Everything was just top flight. So I appreciate Jeremy's work on that. Whoever else worked on it for the village or the township, George Cullis, just all did a great job on that.
Thank you.
Okay. As he led off with Commissioner and staff comments, do you have anything you'd like to comment about? Any questions or anything with the community that you have any concerns with?
Within that, well, I would like to comment on, give Mr. Montgomery high praise for the shape he's kept that building site in over there. At Ellsworth and Saginaw. I mean, he's done a fantastic job. He's done everything he said he'd do.
Okay. Mr. Clark.
I only have one comment, just to point out that we have our annual Memorial Day Parade at 10 a.m. on Monday, starting downtown and going out to Lakeside Park.
Okay. Mr. DeSessa.
No, nothing further. Thanks.
I have nothing, thank you.
All right, I guess I have a couple questions. I haven't seen any activity on Grange Hall from Taco Bell. Have they submitted the rest of their documentation?
They're still waiting for the Oakland County approval. Everything, they've accepted their documents, and they're just going through the review now. I would anticipate, I talked to Bob Grabowski this week, and he's anticipating here within the next 30 days or less.
Okay, then I saw that they're on Saginaw Street, they're at Rosette and Saginaw. They started doing ground activity. It looked like they put in land drains and things of that nature. Then it looked like they came to a stop.
Is that Mr. Montgomery's?
Yes.
So actually what he did was, there was a lot of peat that was found underneath the soil. All that peat was removed and the soil was stabilized for the foundation.
Okay. Then one other concern I had, which really, I guess, isn't his concern, is after he graded things in the respect to what he was supposed to, all right, it looks like the topography goes back uphill as it goes to Thomas, basically to the south.
So I know he's not completed any final grade yet.
Yeah, but, I mean, the slope is going to the two adjoining properties, basically, and his was supposed to slope in the direction it is, all right? My concern is, since the other topography goes uphill by visual, all right, which, you know, eyes can play tricks on you, if it indeed comes to a point there, I saw where his drain pipe ended, which was at the, basically the end of the property line, where would it go? Where
I
would this-
believe it goes down the railroad ditch, if I'm not mistaken, but I'd have to go back and look at the plans and see how he proposed it.
Because I didn't see anywhere for it to escape unless there was any type of a tunnel or cavern underneath there that took it somewhere. I didn't see where else it would go.
I know he did tie into the storm sewer in the front.
Okay.
In the back of the property, I'd have to triple check the plans and see exactly what's done.
Yeah, because I say, going to Thomas, it just looks like it went back uphill. It's like, well, that might be,
I know he's moved a little dirt back there to get the garden soil foundation in place, and then he plans on back grading it back. So I would just pause until we get a little bit more development out there to see what the final grade looks like.
okay.
Thank you.
I think that's all I have. Anything from staff?
Nothing for me. I would like to welcome Ms. Snow. Chris Snow is new to the office. She's sitting in today just as next in line and getting a little training tonight. So,
Okay.
Chris Snow, Planning Commission.
Welcome to the fun.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Mr. Arfonsi, I do have something to say on behalf of the DDA. That's okay.
Sure.
We
Could
are-
you get up to the microphone, please?
What's that? Josh Murphy, 103 Battle Alley. We are ramping up on all of our events. I didn't bring any cards with me today, but you can go over to his office and ask Nick. He has a whole stack of them with all of our events and everything we're working on. The next thing is First Fridays, I believe.
And there's a big article that's going to be coming out in the Tri-County that's going to list the whole itinerary for the Village of Holly for the entire year. So look for that in the Tri-County Times in the near future.
Yeah.
All right.
That's all I got.
They partnered up with the DDA and the Chamber of Commerce to put that out.
Have we gotten anywhere, any movement forward with the website?
It is paused right now, but we are very diligent to get that completed.
Okay. All right, moving on to public comments at the end of the hearing here. If anybody has anything they would like to stand up and speak about, feel more than free to do so at this time.
Excuse me.
Seeing no one move forward, I'd like to adjourn the meeting.
Did everybody get a new roster for the?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.